From the four corners of this land we call America the Beautiful, here is a fascinating look at the world around us. RV trips of adventure, discovery, and beauty to find some of the most beautiful and unique places, people, and events on American Odyssey. Join us now as we leave the freeways behind and head for the back roads of America to discover what's just beyond the next bend in the road. When I decided to explore the north shore of Lake Superior along Minnesota Highway 61, I didn't expect to see much. Boy, was I surprised to find delicate beauty and warm people, as well as interesting history at every turn of the road. The Minnesota North Shore Scenic Byway was a pleasure all the way to Grand Portage. We crossed the bridge from Superior, Wisconsin to Duluth, Minnesota to see what an outsider in an RV might find interesting and scenic along the north shore of Lake Superior on Minnesota's Highway 61. An old-fashioned streetcar, perhaps. Or a real live steam-snorting choo-choo train, the sight and sound of which pushes my nostalgia button. Huge ore ships that have plied the waters of the Great Lakes for many decades and are curiosities to us outsiders, but, in my opinion, not particularly scenic. Maybe a luncheon cruise on board the Vista Queen to watch the bridges go up and down. Or perhaps waving to people, mostly fellow tourists, as we look over Duluth's harbor. Maybe that'll be enough to satisfy our need to find something interesting. Now, there's something you don't see every day, particularly in places like Iowa or Montana. A 1,000-foot ship. This monster ore carrier is longer than 3 football fields. And to load the iron ore into these ships requires loading docks of immense size as well. From this area, the French explorers Daniel Greysolon and Sieur de Luth set out to explore the wilderness around Lake Superior and the upper Mississippi Valley in 1678, eventually claiming the land for France and laying the foundation for the fur trade that would dominate the area's economy for the next century. Today, there's still a lot of exploring left to be done by people like you and me. The big difference is that today we can do it in complete comfort. Well, this is all very interesting, but what about the people of Duluth? I noticed that when there is music, like here at Duluth's Waterfront Park, they start dancing. Must be some kind of Duluthian ritual to appease the snow gods of winter. It wasn't just the kids that caught the beat of the music. Talking about rituals, when the Finnish folks get together for their annual Finn Fest, their ritual dances are the schottisch, polka, and waltz. Well, I don't know who was having more fun, me watching the dancers or the dancers watching me watch the dancers. Well, I found out for sure when my cameraman, Mike Nelson, put a pretty young lady up to asking me to dance. I got back at him by making him do the polka. See, I got by with an easy waltz. Mike kept looking at his feet as if they belonged to someone else, and he was wondering what they were doing.
Traveling the road.
Well, it's time to do what we came here to do. Head our rig north along Lake Superior as far as we could without crossing into Canada. In order to meet other RVers, we stopped at one of the many beautiful RV parks along the way. This one was at Two Harbors, about 15 miles north of Duluth. I seem to attract an audience when I back in and hook up to ground power. I know they're checking me out to see if I do it right.
Come explore me, meet the magic, bring the memory to life. Following the road.
After getting acquainted with our new neighbors, we met a nice couple that told us about their last 7,000-mile journey across America in their RV.
Tell me about your Florida to California trip.
We went from Florida, we went to Toronto to visit my mother who's 90, and then we went to Florida, and we went across Texas and all the southern states, and we went to Mesa, and we didn't like Arizona, so we left Mesa and we went to Yuma. We didn't like that, we went to California, then we went to Las Vegas, and then we went to the Grand Canyon, and we went to
Oh my goodness.
Hoover Dam, and then we went to Iowa to visit friends, and that's where we're going when we leave here. We're going
Oh
down to
goodness.
Iowa.
How many
to visit
miles
friends.
was that
7,700.
on this rig?
Yeah, on that one trip. But we've taken this to Florida before,
Uh-huh.
and no, we like motorhome. It's home. If it's dirty, it's your own dirt.
Hi, America.
Another friendly couple we met said they were homeless.
We're homeless at the moment. We're full timing. We just sold our home in suburban St. Paul on the 26th of June. It's a delightful way to go. We love it. We love the association with people. We love the places we've been, and it's a nice way of life.
The city of Two Harbors is one of those quiet little towns with a huge steam train on display.
It's a lot of iron.
I don't know, I just like to look at these huge metal monsters of our recent industrial past. That night, dramatic storm clouds were brewing, and I thought we were in for some heavy weather. As it turned out, it was just moderate rain, but that didn't deter these Minnesotans, and the rain only lasted for about an hour. As one of our neighbors said, if you don't like the weather in Minnesota, just wait a minute. Before we left the town of Two Harbors, I looked around to see if this was that typical Norman Rockwell Midwest town that I've been looking for. Well, it was close, but not quite. I'm still looking. Well, by the time I caught up with my cameraman, about 40 miles north of Duluth, he was taking pictures of Split Rock Lighthouse. What a pretty sight it was. A photographer's delight for sure. The Split Rock Lighthouse is now a national monument and a delightful place to pause on our Odyssey along Minnesota's North Shore. The Split Rock Lighthouse was built in 1910 to assist ships carrying iron ore that would affect their compasses, especially during some of the fierce storms that come up on Lake Superior in the fall and winter. These air compressors provided the compressed air for the twin foghorns that made that characteristic foghorn sound. Ooh, ah. Even with the old oil vapor lamp, the light could be seen for 72 miles. The bearings for the lamp housing consists of 250 pounds of liquid mercury, and the whole lamp and large lens float on this pool of mercury. Whoa, hold everything. Did you see the name of this town? Here is a town obviously named after me. Well, maybe not after me, but we do share the same last name. Maybe John Schroeder, who had a lumber mill here in the early lumber days and whom the town was named after, well, maybe John and I are related. I'll have to look into that someday. There's a small but pretty waterfall here called the Cross River Falls. This is the place where in 1846, Father Baraga erected a wooden cross to commemorate his safe crossing of Lake Superior, hence the name Cross River. I noticed a sign warning of the danger of slipping on the rocks. Now this is especially true during freezing weather. A little farther along Highway 61, I had the opportunity to meet one of the nicest people that I have met in a long time. His name was Elan Beach. When I first saw him, he was announcing the winners of some sort of raffle at a sporting goods store in Beaver Bay. It was fun just watching people collect their prizes. Now, in my book, Beach is one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. What a wonderful man.
You're my kind of guy, you know that? Well, thank you. They tell me once you get to 50, you're over the hill. Down from there. No, it's all, you speed up. It's downhill. This lake froze over completely.
One and possibly two. It's been one time in our lifetime. This was not too long ago. They had, you know, then they had planes that would fly over.
No wonder the local residents named this beach after him. They called it Beach's Beach.
They figured many years ago that it might have been frozen over because they figured that's how the moose got onto Isle Royal.
Oh. Isle
We
Royal
talked
is
for a long
out
time
here.
of many things, and
way
then,
up there,
sadly,
way up there.
it was time for me to go.
That's interesting.
That is it.
Beach told us we had missed a beautiful waterfall by the name of Gooseberry Falls a few miles back. So we retraced our steps a few miles so that we could show this beautiful falls to you.
A moon on a lake, geese on the fly, a loon on a pond in a park, in the blink of an eye, a leaf in a stream. Life in a blue-green land clings to you, calls to you, sings to you, draws you along. Minnesota song. Minnesota song.
You know, getting there is never the most important thing to me. So I took time to just lay back in a field of summer flowers and watch the clouds drift by. I thought I had the place all to myself until I noticed a family enjoying the beach in front of me. I was happy to share my space with them even though they didn't know I was there. What a pleasure it is to be a free soul and be able to drive the scenic byways of America, wondering what's just around the next bend in the road. We are now at Grand Marais, a mere 110 miles from Duluth, and the scenery has changed dramatically. Pulling into the wayside parking lot at Grand Marais and walking through a group of Canadian geese, I spotted some hungry ducks in the bay, and that gave me the excuse I needed to offer a few slices of leftover bread to those in need. Grand Marais is where the American Fur Company had a trading post in 1823. Today, Grand Marais is an active artist colony. Here's some of the work that impressed me when I visited the Silverton Art Gallery. Sport fishing is another drawing card to these parts. I talked with Tyson Cronmer, the owner of the Beaver House, a family-owned fishing supply house, and I was impressed with his enthusiasm for fishing. I'm not a fisherman, but he made it sound like fun.
If you come here, we'll tell you where to go and what to use. We'll show you how we fish ourselves, our family here, and show you what we use, and you got a good chance of catching fish.
Finally, we arrived at Grand Portage, and as the name implies, this is where the fur traders, known as voyageurs, convened in the early 1800s. Dwight Stangley, one of the guides, told it like it was 200 years ago.
Today I am a voyager. I am a Northman. And of course the Northmen had to stay on this side of the stockade. And they said they covered their bodies with bear grease and skunk oil to keep the mosquitoes and black flies off, so you didn't want to be too close to us anyway.
There were 4 distinct classes that lived inside the fort: the wooden bowl, the pewter, the china, and the fine china classes. Of course, the voyagers pitched their tents outside because they smelled. The voyagers carried 140 pounds on their backs and ran most of the time. Today, that would be considered cruelty to animals.
And then you've got to throw another one on top of that. See?
Another one on top of that.
Another one on top of that.
Well, here, I'll climb on.
There we go. And actually, they actually ran with these. They would run leaned over like that.
Here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, we're off to Canada.
There we go.
Well, by golly, that ends our adventure along Highway 61, north shore of Lake Superior. And by golly, I had a good time. I hope you did too. Saw a lot of things that I didn't know existed, and we're kind of hoping you'd be with us on the next American Odyssey. See you then.
The Minnesota North Shore of Lake Superior RV trip to Grand Portage turned out to be one of those trips that surprised even me when it came to finding scenic beauty and interesting places and people. So you see, even what looks like a boring trip can turn into pure gold if you just do it. And that's one of the secrets of backroading. Just do it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you again on American Odyssey.